You're now tuned into Radical Radio with Coach L.
Switch my attitude. I'm so radical. 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 I'm so radical.
Radical Radio is designed to get to the heart of our guest stories. Oftentimes, you see people moving and they make it look so easy. Many don't know the story behind the journey, the heartache, the disappointment, the wins, or even the loss. What has it cost you? We are removing the stigma of judging a book by its cover and gaining perspective from our guests in the most radical way, in their own words. Testimonies are meant to be shared to help others move forward. That's the radical way, y'all. Let's go. You can't heal what's hidden, and you can't break chains you don't acknowledge. The word says the truth shall set you free. Be true to yourself and allow the plan that God has had for your life to live. That's radical, living unapologetically bold and purposely authentic. Stay tuned for the radical coaching moment of the day. What's up, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, my radical people? I am your host, Coach L, the visionary of Radical Life, the brand that encourages you to be radical and live in your God-given favor every day. Radical houses, Radical Life coaching, Radical Eyewear, and of course, Radical Radio, which is the platform that you are on right now. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Let's get to the radical coaching moment of the day. Okay. So I want to talk to y'all about growth, right? I want to talk about growth today because oftentimes I've heard so many times like, oh, you think you better than everybody. Oh, you know, she done changed on me. Oh, she don't act the same no more. You know, these are things that I have heard, you know, about myself. I've heard that people have said that, you know, concerning me. But I just want to share something. Like there comes a time and place where people grow, right? So let me put this in an example for you. Oftentimes, like you may have grown up with somebody, right? You may have grown up with them. You may have been close to them and very, very, you know, in tune and you did many things together, right? But at some point in time in life, people grow apart. Why? Because people grow up. As you grow up, you may grow apart and you have to be okay with that, right? The reason you have to be okay with that is because everybody doesn't grow at the same rate. So where I may be growing, you know, where I am right now, somebody else may have superseded me. What's up, Rita? Thank you for joining us, cousin. Somebody may have already superseded me in where I am. So then, you know, we hear things like meet people where they are. Of course, we are supposed to meet people where they are, but I don't want anybody to ever think like I'm acting funny or, you know, that it's something where, you know, I think I'm better than. It's just some things that you grow out of. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Let's be transparent and keep it a buck right now. Like there was a time where I used to smoke weed, right? I used to love smoking weed. I used to smoke all kinds of weed. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my thing. I didn't care about, you know, what people thought about me smoking weed. But then it became a point in time where God wanted to deliver me from smoking weed, and I stopped smoking weed. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to frown upon you or that I'm going to look at you crazy because you smoke weed. I can't. There's no way that I can do that. Why? Because I too, once upon a time, used to smoke weed. So I'm going to meet you where you are. I'm not going to judge you because you smoke weed. I just understand that I've been delivered from that area. So it doesn't mean that I can't go around people that smoke weed, but it will be a different circumstance for me. Like I'm not going to sit around and just, you know, be sitting around everybody and they smoking weed. Like that's something that I got delivered from. So when you're delivered from something, you know, it doesn't mean that you can't be in the vicinity of it, but it also means that, you know how to walk away from some things because you've been delivered from them. Doesn't mean that you think that you're better than them. It just means that you've grown out of that area of your life. And people, I want to encourage you to be okay with that. Understand that people change. Understand that people don't do the same things that they always have done. When it comes to their growth, they may be growing in a way and in a place that you may not know. And if they don't want to come around, like, let's just use the weed example. If you know that they used to smoke weed, but then they don't come around you anymore because you still smoke weed, maybe it's because they don't want to fall back into the old habits. Maybe it's going to be something that's going to be, a temptation for them, and they don't want to fall into temptation. So that may be the reason why they don't want to come around when you smoke weed. Like, we have to just be sensitive to people and not automatically go on guard and feel like, oh, they think they better than me because they don't do this no more, or they think they this, or they think they that. That is not always the case. And I'm speaking from experience. That is not the case in many situations with me. It's not that I ever will think that I'm better than anybody. It just means that I've grown from that place and I want to remain in the place that I'm in. I feel free, and I feel good knowing that I'm not in that place anymore. So I don't want to have anything tempting me to go back to that place, right? No judge. Real talk. No judge. Hey, Alicia. Hey, Dr. Roberson. Thank you guys for joining us. So yeah, that is the radical coaching moment of the day. Be okay when people are in a position of growth. Don't go to the negative so quickly. Try to get an understanding of maybe why you may feel that way and why they may be moving the way that they're moving, right? If 9 times out of 10 has absolutely nothing to do with you, okay? And I want to give y'all this scripture. I said that I'm going to do this. I was thinking about some things and I was like, I don't always want to give them the scripture and read it out loud to them. I want to give it to them so that they can take the scripture and they can go read it themselves, right? So I'm going to leave you with this scripture. It is 2 Corinthians 5:17. It goes along with the radical coaching moment of the day and the word growth. So read it on your own time. I hope that it does bless you. I hope that it gives you a great revelation. But I do want to thank you guys for rocking with me in the radical coaching moment of the day. I do want you guys to do me a favor. If you haven't already, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. We do have a Radical Radio podcast that is on all platforms. So if you haven't found it, go onto your Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, all those good platforms that you know and love of podcasts. We are on there. It is the Radical Radio Podcast. So you can find us and subscribe, because if you miss the shows on Mondays, you can always go to the podcast and you can always listen to the shows if you miss them. So I hope that you guys will go ahead and follow the podcast. So with that being said, y'all, listen, I have a very, 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 very special guest on tonight. My sister, Miss Readjust Your Crown, Jheri Bevil, is in the building tonight. We have a very special topic that we are going to talk about. This is not like any other show. My sister asked me, she said, sis, you got questions for me? I said, no, I ain't got no questions. I'm a rock, just like I rock when my sisters come on. I rock with y'all, and I want to bring you guys in on some of the telephone conversations that we have had. Just recently, we had one of the most amazing conversations regarding the cost of a cycle breaker. What does it cost you when you are a cycle breaker, right? So I want to tell y'all what the meaning of cycle breaker is, right? Cycle breakers are those who come from childhood with struggles such as abuse, dysfunction, control, blame, shame, addiction, neglect, abandonment, rejection, and so much more, but they break the cycle. There's no doubt that there is generational influence has an impact. Our parents and our grandparents' choices influence our own a lot, right? But as cycle breakers, we are the ones that make the conscious decision to break the cycle. We are the ones that make, that conscious decision where we have been able to identify that maybe there were some things that weren't quite right and didn't quite sit well with us. And we took it upon ourselves to break the cycle for our own families and for ourselves going forward, right? So that is the meaning of a cycle breaker. So, Jheri, thank you for joining us, sister.
Thank you for having me.
She came on ready to give a word. I just want to let y'all know she came on ready. She is ready and in the building on Radical Radio to give this word.
Right.
we had an awesome conversation. My sister, I talked about this book last week, and I want to, I brought the book this time. It is Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. My sister, she had responded to me and given me this book and said she had started reading it. So I went and purchased it, and it has blown our mind to the point where we've been having like some real good conversations about some things that we have learned about ourselves, right? Because oftentimes, like when you go through things, it's easy for us to point the finger at everybody else, but not point the finger at ourselves and not look at some of the things that we are doing. So let's get into it, sis. Let's talk about this book so far, like some of the things that we have learned, right? What are some of the takeaways that you have gotten from this book so far?
When you point the finger at somebody else, there's three of them pointing back at yourself.
Yes,
for sure. Yes. In a lot of instances where I walk around with a heart with reading this book, I found like in a lot of instances I've been hurting myself. And it's not a people thing, it's a Jheri thing, but it's a trauma thing as well, because the blueprint of my past and the things that I have been through, they've shaped me as a person. And sometimes that shaping, it doesn't have to look negative, but if you don't have balance in those positive things, it can have negative effects. And in some of my decision making and things that I've been through, it has affected me negatively because I haven't found balance in it. Right. And while I'm with other people, a lot of it is Jheri.
Right. Okay.
Trauma is in the surface there a bit.
Yeah.
And it's reality checking.
That's it.
It's deep. It's real.
Now, we talk a lot about being transparent. And what we're talking about this evening is just, what it costs to be a cycle breaker, right? We're very transparent with our lives. We give a lot of information regarding our lives and some of the things that we have endured. Why is it so important, like, for you to be transparent?
Because often we take a look around at everybody. Social media in this day and age right now is a big one, where a lot of people are willing to talk about the success and the great things that happen, but not many people are willing to talk about the struggles and the triumphs and the down days, where people think that they're not doing enough, that it's all glitz and glam. And not even like in the fashion of just a business, but making it day to day as a mom, as a human, as a person, as a child of God. Like, not many are willing to be real about the struggles. Like the day I woke up, and today, you know what? Honestly, I didn't feel like being a mom, a child of God, or a wife. Ain't nobody gonna say that. They gonna say, I love being a mom. I love being a wife. My kids are the best. Like, but how many people gonna be like, I'm out here preaching to your kids, but guess what? My kids are facing the struggle. Like, I'm in. Somebody has to be real about that. And like you say, it's a cost.
Yeah.
It's a cost for opening your mouth and just being real. The devil don't like that.
Yes.
Why people think like it's a breeze and you think you better. Like you say, it don't even be about you. You don't know the fights, the cries, the tears, when you got to gather yourself and you got to have a sister like a Ladina, because you got to call somebody like sis.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong, but I'm questioning myself, like, help me.
Right.
Pause.
Yeah.
Breathe. Keep going. You don't see them struggles. Yeah. And as we're as transparent as we want to be, sometimes people overlook it and we speaking it. Like, how you overlooking it and I'm speaking the truth to you? I'm telling you, like,
right.
Open book. Like, you hear like open the book, open door policy. But sometimes people, it go right over their head because you don't even see realness like that.
Well, let's talk about that. You make it look good, right? A lot of people think like, okay, so you see, I'm in Radical Radio Studio, but you don't know how many days, I was uneasy. You don't know how many days, when Jheri was putting out, Readjust Your Crown and mentoring young girls, how many days, her daughter may have been taking her through, or she may have been going through in her marriage, or she just may have been tired, right? But that is a cost because of the simple fact that we don't get the opportunity to sit and wallow, right? So what it costs us to be a cycle breaker is we don't get the opportunity to sit and feel bad for ourselves because there are lives that are depending on us being obedient and doing the very thing that God has called us to do to save someone else. Now, that goes without saying. When our kids is acting a fool, because it's been plenty of times I've called you like, I don't know what to do. I just can't take it no more. And, I'm crying, and you had to pull me up, and you had to, really get me back in a place to understand, sis, it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be easy because the very thing that we're called to see, and that's the biggest thing, we're called to the young people, right? So we have very big hearts. We love hard. So let's talk about, because listen, I'm for real. We're going to let y'all in on, like, these are the conversations that we have literally had. Let's talk about our hearts, because we always talk about how our hearts are designed, how God has chosen to design our hearts where, no matter how many times somebody come and stab us, we still choose to stand up, bleeding and all, love, right? So let's talk a little bit about what that has cost you in your journey. Like, this hasn't been the first time that this has happened. It's happened many, many times. So let's talk about that.
My heart. I think for as long as I can remember, I prayed, God, take this heart away. But He don't listen, y'all. He don't listen. Like, I gave it to you, you gonna keep it. Until I decided to be comfortable with this is me. Because I think something all day. But you don't know the cost of having a heart that God gave you and to think something. Don't even act on it and be convicted. You can't even think it.
Yes.
You can't even think it before you have to correct it. Yes. Like, if people think like, I just want to be this nice person. Y'all heard me on Free Thinkers and stuff, and I'm trying to knuck if I'm buck, but I can't buck. Like you can't buck. Like, you crying like, I'm a punk. Like, I'm a punk. Like, I gotta let you punk me. I gotta let you treat me. I gotta let you talk to me how you want to. You could talk about me behind my back. You could talk about me, my kids, my marriage, my husband, because I've been through it, especially with the just Readjust Your Crown. And I can't even react. When you come to me for advice after I know you didn't talk down on me, I still got to give it to you.
You're right.
Be real. I still got to hear God say, and even though there's plenty of people not walking and loving like I love and forgiving like how I forgive, in all, hurt and all, you still have to love and forgive like me. Yeah. You don't know what that felt like because too many people are out doing them. And then it's not just to people business related. What about when it comes to your kids and they're being ungrateful and they're not listening and you teaching other people kids and they are looking for someone like you, but your very own kids rejecting what God has given you. What about when you get in your marriage and it's rejection for the fight of your life? Like, I'm telling you, because I know what God said, but your husband can't see what God said. You don't know what God said. He think this all you. Like, but look, and I still got to come on here and be transparent and give it to you real like this. What about when you trying to go to your family, moms, dads, sister, brothers, about these cycles and this has to change and everybody's looking at you. Like Coach L just said, you think you better? You're not right. This not right. Because it looks different. It's not normal. So you have to learn. I've had to learn how to operate in a world where and accept I'm different.
Yes.
Not gonna understand. You don't know what it costs.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
You hear about the industry and how they blackball people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your heart is black. My heart is blackballed.
Yeah.
From those around me.
Yeah.
Family, friends, the world, business. Like, you got a blackball heart for doing what God said.
Yeah. Yeah. That part.
A blackball heart.
Mm-hmm. And let's just talk about, like, you hit it real strong right there, because you have to go it as a cycle breaker, right? You know, a cycle breaker interrupts the pattern. A cycle breaker interrupts the comfortableness, right? So as a cycle breaker, like, everybody trying to sweep everything under the rug, and here you are, the cycle breaker, trying to lift the rug up and sweep everything back out so that we can deal with it, right? Talk about it, communicate our feelings, speak on it, you know, and do those things in order to heal from it. But then you still got people that are wanting to stay in that comfortable place and not talk about it, but you're trying to interrupt the pattern. That's what cycle breakers do, right? Let's be honest, like the summertime, I swear Jheri and the free thinkers can all relate and tell you and attest to this. I had been called, God had given me the assignment to go to my family and talk about some of the things that have been harboring over my family for like years and years and years, right? And it broke my heart so bad because they don't understand how much I struggle. Like, I got here 3 years ago, and God had given me this assignment 3 years ago. I just fulfilled the assignment over the summer this past year, right? So it took me 2 years to get out of my own way and be obedient to fulfill the assignment that God had gave me, because I know I can clearly see the cycles. I can clearly see generational cycles. And this is the problem, right? God has gifted me to be able to spot cycles. So even like dealing with young adults, when I hear them talking, it was one young adult, he told me, he said, you know, everything that I've been through, my mother has been through. So my mother went to all these alternative schools. Now I'm going to all these alternative schools. And my mother was in jail. Now I have been to jail. And I'm telling him, like, it's visible. Those are generational cycles. You are the chosen cycle breaker in your family. So it's up to you to make the choice to break the cycle, because now you have a child. So when you have a child, if you don't decide to break the cycle, those same things that happen to your mom, you are going to happen to your child. So that's how serious this thing is. Like, when you can identify the generational cycles that are attacking your family, and let's be clear, the enemy loves it. It's just like, you know, we were young mothers, right? So I always celebrate the fact that, you know, I had my first child when I was 17 years old. I always celebrate the fact that none of my children, you know, have children. They were able to break that cycle. Why? Because I consistently talked to them about, you know, how it was being a young mother, how difficult it was. So thank God that they have chosen not to, you know, continue that cycle. But that's only one. When I tell y'all, it's like, it's just a never-ending wheel of things that continue to occur as far as cycles go. So what we're saying is, our hearts, we're not able to be regular people because we can spot a generational cycle trying to attack our family. And we have to be the strong ones and say, that ain't right. How has it been for you, Jheri, when it comes to family, like the attacks? So we're talking about what it costs to be a cycle breaker, right? A cycle breaker endures the attacks of their loved ones, the attacks of people who really don't understand what it is that we're trying to even achieve. They have no clue, because it's kind of like they have that notion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Yeah. So let's talk about some of your experiences.
Hello?
We can hear you.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Or the famous, you know how they are.
That's just how they are.
That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. The famous, the just what it is. For a long time, I thought God gave me this heart and you have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. More recently, I really realized that you can love and pray in distance.
Yes.
Because if someone or people or a family or a group or friends aren't able to identify the cycle, and if they can't identify it, listen to what you've been told about the cycle, that you can remove yourself.
Yeah.
Because the battery, the abuse, the mental anguish, the mental pressure that it leaves on the cycle breaker, that because you feel like you have to endure everything, is emotionally draining.
Yes.
It's mentally draining, like it's depleting. I don't think that my family and friends would know the level of depletion, like cup empty, tired, beat, like feel like you on a cross. When you have a heart from God, it feel like you're literally chained, shackled, and being beat. When you are around certain things, when you witness certain things. You said it the best when you said that sometimes when people make changes, it ain't about you.
Yeah.
Real life ain't about you. Like your mind can't take it. Like when you see other people going through, your family and your friends, like it kills you because you see them slowly dying. Like, not in a physical form, like they've been shot and they about to die. You got to bury them.
Right.
But over time, you're able to see and identify something that other people can't even see.
Yes.
So when people say that they want to hear and talk to God, you gotta be careful what you ask for.
Really? Do you really?
You gotta be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Because it's a constant rejection from those that you love for following God.
Yeah.
My family and friends and the ones closest to me, I take the worst whoopings. The worst whoopings.
Yeah.
And constantly people tell me like, well, that's you. That's what you do. It's with such ease, like, and it's not. But with codependent no more, I learned a few things.
Yeah. We take on a lot. You're absolutely right. Autumn says, it has always hurt me to see people go through things that I know God could easily help them through, but they have no idea. And so let's touch on that, because I was just talking to a friend of mine and I was explaining to her, like, when people give their yes, right, and they surrender to God, life changes, right? So when you identify your purpose, life changes, and it changes for the better, right? You get a freedom that comes from you identifying and operating in your purpose and surrendering to God. However, people seem to think that because you are in this place that you don't go through. We still go through, but it's a different type of going through because we're not going through it alone. We have God by our side. But it gets frustrating, and I know I'm speaking for myself. Sometimes I can see people in the spiritual, right? And when you can see the potential of people in the spiritual realm, and where God has, really called them, but they're running, it frustrates you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get frustrated sometimes, and I have to remind myself, hold on, though, you can meet them where they are, and everybody goes through their own process, right? But then it becomes a time where, like, let's talk about us. We're cycle breakers, and people know that we want our family and our friends to be free, right? That's just how our hearts are, right? Our hearts are designed where we want everybody to be free. But then it comes a time where, because you see that person in the spiritual realm, you want it for them so bad that you kind of like get onto them so much, right? And you tell them what you see, and you tell them when God gives you a word for them. But then it's all turned around on, right? And it's like, I'm not receiving from her, or I'm not listening to her, or I'm tired of talking to her because you're a goody two shoes. You think you better than everybody, or who are you, Mary Magdalene? I have been called Mary Magdalene so many times, like, but
Mother,
it's
Mother Teresa.
like, it's not that. It's really because I see it. I want you to walk in it. I want you to be able to operate in it. But then there comes a time where I have to say, you know what, Ladina, you wanted more than they wanted. So you got to step back, and you got to let them endure that process, because if they don't endure the process on their own, they will never understand, what it is. They will never understand the process and how the process works and how God can really change a person's heart, right? So, like, that's what we endure. It costs us so much because we want so much for everybody, and we take the weight and we just put it right here on our shoulders and we walk with it. And yes, we make it look good, because you ain't gonna see us around here crying, woe is me. You know what I'm saying? Because we have a circle. When our circle, we pick up the phone and we say, hey, sis, I'm going through. I need you to, kind of get me right. Let's talk about this thing. And we can talk about it and put each other on the right path, and give each other the insight and the love that we need just to continue, just to keep going.
Learning that we can lead them to the water, but we can't make them drink it.
Yeah.
And like my pastor always say, your sheep know your voice.
Yes.
And I heard from you.
Yes.
You can sow the seed and walk away.
Yes, Lord.
As we speak it, but in this season that you and I are in, we really have to sow them seeds and walk away.
Absolutely.
And it's 2021. God is doing a new thing. Like we've reached levels. And it's certain things where when you try to stay somewhere and save everybody else, I'm gonna miss my blessing and my plane. And I can't carry the baggage and miss my blessing and miss the plane and the plan that God has designed for me, the blueprint that he has already written, because he knew me before I was formed in my mother's womb. He knew what I was called to. He knew that I was going to face these battles, that the devil, you can do whatever you can to whatever you will to my daughter. You can't kill her.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't kill her.
Yep.
And everybody isn't strong enough to endure a heart like God. That's why he didn't give us everybody.
That's right. That's right. Now, cycle breakers, right? So I hope that you guys like from this platform, like, just understand there's cycle breakers in every family, like multiple cycle breakers. It's not just like in my family, I see myself, I know I'm a cycle breaker and that's it, right? That's not it. There are multiple cycle breakers in our family, in your family. You may be a cycle breaker, right? And if you are a cycle breaker, understand that there's going to be some things that it's going to cost you in order to be a cycle breaker. It's going to cost you to be able to break the cycles for generations to come, right? And understand, like, your yes, you're giving the yes and acknowledging that you are a cycle breaker is going to help and save your legacy to go forward, right? So when we have children, if we don't make the connection to break the cycle, then it's like our children are then going to go through the same things that we have endured plus more if we don't choose to break the cycle. And I want you to understand, it's not just like, oh, everything stops, right? For instance, I have adult children, right? So the fact that they are able to witness their mother change her life. Now, do they know about me? Yes, they know about me because I choose to be transparent with my children. I choose to be honest with them. They know that their mama was touched. They know that she was a little off, that she used to do stuff that she had no business doing. But now it's like they have been able to be a witness to the change, and they can attest that it wasn't anything that I did on my own, because I always tell them this wasn't nobody but God, because I wouldn't even be this person had it not been for God. So, like, what do you say to that? Like, the fact that you have to be this way, you have to go through these things, because if you don't, like, you have to concern yourself with your children following into that path, and then their children following into that path. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about kids. And this gonna get real touchy for me, so I might shed a few tears.
It's all right.
When you talk about kids and being a cycle breaker and saying yes to God, because I know I said yes for sure, and I have to walk and talk like I said yes, because it comes a point where you're so afraid to turn around and go back, because even with saying yes and doing right, the devil will use everything around you to make you say no, to make you quit. Kids, number one, not only am I called to break the cycles for me, my husband is a cycle breaker, and he ain't walking all the way in it yet. We both have broken homes. We have 3 kids that are a part of broken homes. And it's safe to say our kids are broken. We blended in better, trying to be better, but they're broken.
Yeah.
And the brokenness, regardless of how good of a life you give kids.
Oh, yes.
Being present and attentive matters.
Yeah.
You can't act like, because we're a family, that everything else just goes out the window. They still got the cycles from the blended family, the cycles from the broken, the cycles from the other parent, the cycles. Let's keep it real. You can have cycles with the absent parent, because I'm going to be honest with y'all. My daughter's father is completely absent. Like, she's saying one time in 2020, 2 times in 2019, and I can't tell you how many times prior to that. But the absent parent is taking precedent over the present parents.
Ooh, come on now. Come on now.
And why I have to fight tooth and nail with my kid that I'm present and attentive for every day, guess what I still got to do? I got to fight for your kids and 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 your kids. And I have to keep saying yes, because the minute, that's what the devil want me to do. Stop.
Yeah. He wants you to stop.
I don't have room to stop, because if I stop, I don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
I was already breaking loose because I'm said yes to break the cycle. But what you think the hell going to look like if I turn around?
Oh, Jesus.
You think a whooping from the devil is bad? You don't know the torment of being whooped by God.
That's right. That's right.
I gave up my business. I done tried to give up my business. Say I quit Readjust Your Crown. That's the big fail.
Right. And that goes to say, and this is for anybody out there that works with young adults and has children of their own, right? Me and Jheri talk about this all the time. And thank you, Joe. Thank you for joining us. Joe says the biggest tool the devil uses against the child of God is not sin, but it's definitely distractions. Absolutely correct. Anytime, like, God gives you an assignment, right? The assignment in our purpose is to mentor and help young adults, you know, be able to go through and not endure the same things that we have endured, right? So what happens is, you know, because we have been called to this thing and because we have been purposed to this thing, we go through with our children. So you hear a lot of people who work with young adults and they have children of their own. They like, look, I'm out here trying to, you know, help these kids, but I'm going through with my own kids at home. Why? Because that's exactly what the enemy wants to do. You know, he wants to steal, kill, and destroy. He wants to take that thing away, you know, from you. He wants you to quit. Because like you said, the moment that you quit, you know, the enemy has said, yeah, I got her, you know, because she didn't quit. But you talked about like blended families and understanding that cycles are a part of blended families. Let's talk about when you're married or when you're in a relationship, there's two families that come together. And in marriage, there's two families that come together. So there's, you know, cycles in the wife's family and there's cycles in the husband's family. Same thing that you're saying with the blended family. We have to understand that when we come together, it's our job collectively to break cycles on both ends. Because you could be the cycle breaker on your end, but you still got to deal with this over here. And if you're not dealing with both, you still under attack.
You're still under attack, and you still got to fight even harder. Because what about when the other side don't know how to fight properly?
Yes.
What about when the other side hasn't identified that it's a cycle? Because we're taught blended, it works. It can work, but you have to work.
Absolutely.
But we're taught that we can start over.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real with you. You only get one life. This ain't Mario. This ain't Sonic. You can't hit the reset button. You can't press ABB back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come back.
Come on.
You get one life.
What up, Coach?
You get one life.
That's right.
Ain't no start over.
Mm-hmm.
They do it.
Yeah.
Look how many times you start over.
Mm-hmm.
Use me. I'm not even gonna use nobody else. Me. One daughter, 12, started over. Have a son that's 6. My husband, 13-year-old daughter. Not with that mom, started over. 9-year-old daughter started over. 6-year-old son started over. How many start overs is that? Come on, let's keep on adding. But then don't even just put his start overs there with his kids. Look at his mom.
Yes.
He comes from a couple of start overs. His mom, Mary, dad. I come from a couple of start overs. My mom, my dad, my stepfather, the end.
Yes.
How do you think that all them start overs just supposed to mash up together and then just say like, work?
We good. We're great.
Do that? You even think about that logically? Like, it don't make sense.
Yes.
That's why I've learned now what I say. no sex before marriage.
That's right.
Because you're doing all these unfinished products, but you're making permanent decisions. A kid is permanent.
Yes.
Kid is permanent. The relationship or the ship is over, but the kid is permanent.
That's right. That's right.
So starting over just ain't starting over.
Yeah. It comes with a lot.
It comes with a lot. I started over and I have a broken child.
Yeah.
I have a broken me. But
Yeah.
that's where the real problem came in at. I thought I was in love. I thought I knew what love was. I was broken. I was filling voids. I was thinking that this was what I wanted, and I wasn't taking a deep look into what the cycles was, that the cycles that the man that I was laying down with, what happened when his cycle and my cycle link up, and
That's
my
right.
cycle and his cycle broken.
Yeah.
You put
but now you got two broken cycles.
Double broken cycle and a triple broken kid.
Yeah.
And added her to a family where she's different.
And that's real. That's
She's
real
different.
right there. Yeah. Yeah.
We do this to kids.
Yeah. And we wonder why. Kids, the young people are, feeling abandoned, feeling rejected, not feeling worthy. You may feel like you're doing everything that you could possibly do to make sure that you're setting the standards for your child, but if they are missing someone, that is a void, and that is a deep void that you just can't fix by yourself.
They resent you, the marriage, and the kid.
Yeah.
They both.
Yeah.
My daughter looked, I ain't gonna say a stepdad because we don't use step in our family. Like
right.
My daughter, her daddy Loco like no other. She don't love her daddy Loco more than she love her mama and our birthday. But that don't mean that it's not a void.
Right. Yeah.
Brokenness look different. I can't relate to the brokenness. He can't relate to the brokenness. You cannot relate to heart problems that you don't feel.
That's right. Now that's crazy because Rios, what's up, Coach Rios? He says when they both link, it's a cyclone.
Woo!
Like that's real right there. Because that's it's out of control. And you try to do so much to, control it. Sometimes you can't. It's hard to control. And like I said, it's something that you can't do on your own.
A cycle breaker trying to hop in a cyclone.
Man.
You're trying to slow it down like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how a cycle breaker man work.
Yeah.
You trying to slow down something that's moving so fast, so rampant, and so wildly spread like a wildfire.
Yeah.
Because it's not just your family. It's something that's not normal that has been normalized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That you can live broken, and brokenness is okay, and you can fix it by starting over. A blended family is a made-up word. We weren't intended to be blended, because if you didn't have sex before marriage and you stayed in your marriage and the man covered the wife and the household, it went God, man, wife, kids.
Yeah.
You have a blended family.
That's
you wouldn't
right.
know nothing about it. We wouldn't have had to made it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you pick it up, you gotta make up a solution.
That's right. That's right. Anything made up, you definitely gonna have to, put that work in. And that goes back to we talk about this a lot. Brokenness attracts brokenness. Broken people attract broken people. Healed people attract healed people. How do we as a cycle breaker, how do we get to that point where we're trying, what are the things that we endure and that we go through trying to help heal, our family and help heal the traumatic generational dysfunction or generational, because I know, we talk about, let's just be, put it out there. We talk about our parents a lot, right? We talk about some of the things, like for me, like I've noticed that, alcoholism is a cycle in our family, right? So the way that I handle it, right, this is my own personal way in handling it, and I'm just going to be transparent. Like, I know when certain people in my family call me after 9 o'clock or it's late at night, I choose not to answer the phone. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, I know that they've been drinking and I know that they drunk, and I don't want to have a conversation with them when they're not sober, right? So that's my mechanism, right? To put that wall up of how I'm not going to deal with the fact that alcoholism may runs in our family, right? But at the same turn, when they are sober, I choose to be honest. And my honesty is not always taken, in the greatest light. They don't want to hear about what I think. They don't want to hear my truth. And what I have to say is, but this is how I feel. I'm not telling you this because I feel like I'm right. What I want to explain is how it makes me feel when you call me and you're drunk or intoxicated, and I have to endure this with you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to endure that. So you're right, Rios. That's me protecting my heart, guarding my heart, because I can't link up with you and condone your behavior. You feel what I'm saying? Because this is the scope of what I've always told my family members. There's never been a day, and yes, I used to drink, but there was never a day that I drank and then called y'all talking crazy. So I was able to control myself in my choices and what I was doing and not put it on you, but you guys are not able to control your choices and you're putting them on me. So that's why, like, when it comes to a certain time at night, you call me, I know you might be, a little tipsy and I ain't answering the phone. I want to hold you accountable, to let you know how to treat me. But we get frowned upon because it's like, oh, you bogus because I needed to talk to you or I needed this. But at the same time, like, people only treat you how you allow them to treat you. So let's talk about that.
It comes off to others as judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not judgmental from my perspective. Like, I'm not looking to judge you.
Right.
I talk about a lot of different things that I understand are cycles in my life or my family. Drugs and alcohol being both. Drugs and alcohol, and I'll say women in dealings with men or relationships as far as abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Them cycles I can't sit around and just watch. Like, I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna move, and I'm gonna try to help you. Like, that ain't good for the kids. A big one for me is kids too. That ain't good for the kids. I've watched drugs and alcohol destroy my family.
Mm-hmm.
On both sides. Destroy. I've watched some people turn into monsters of just having a drink and playing cards.
That part.
Wait, how did the card party turn into a fight? How did the card party turn into you urinating in the neighbor's bushes and them coming outside? How did the drink turn into a fight over a cup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This stuff that come back from your memory as a kid.
As a child. Come on, as a child.
How was y'all drinking and partying and kicking in the living room, but I was being touched in a room by the kids? How? So what they say now, that drugs and alcohol hit different for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really different.
Yeah.
That abuse hit different from me. that men in and out of kids' life hit different from me.
Yes. Yes.
I've seen the cause and effects. And my hypothesis that I came up with, that God gave me, is that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It is up daily and bad all the time. I ain't seen nothing good come from it.
Right.
It doesn't sit well with me. It's not me judging you. It's like, let's fix it before it turns into this cyclone.
That part.
Because then you go back and like, wait, how did I get here?
Right.
How did I get here? I was just smoking a little weed. Now I'm just popping a little pill. I didn't even know I was gonna pop the pill because they put the pill in a bottle and we was all sharing the bottle.
Yes. Yes.
That ain't people I want to be a part of.
Right.
I remember going to get family members from off Wacker Drive when I'm a kid in Chicago. I remember. And I don't want that to be the memory of my kids.
That's right. That's right.
Wacker Drive, it could be Sheridan Road. You could move, but the generational curse follow if you don't break it.
Oh, yes. Come on, sis.
You can move from Chicago to Gurnee. You can move from Gurnee to Georgia. You can move. People always think that I'm going to leave the environment. But when you don't change your mindset, when you don't break the cycle, the environment is you. It ain't the environment. It's the environment lives dormant inside of you.
It's this, yeah.
It's not the environment. It ain't going away and starting over.
Yeah.
Your mindset has to change. That's how people, when I get out of jail this time, I'm going to be different.
Yeah.
And then when they get out of jail this
time, you
go
right back to the comfort.
That time, when you get out this abusive relationship, you end back up in this abusive relationship. When you get this, it ain't even got to be bad stuff. People say, when I get a job making $15 an hour, I'm gonna be okay. When I get a job making $20 an hour,
preach. Okay. That's right.
How did you make it all the way to $30 an hour and you still struggling with the same problems you had? You still You still got the $10.
That's right.
Your mind didn't change.
That's right.
Your mind didn't change.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what many see with us cycle breakers as judgment or trying to fix the problem before the problem get there. Yeah, that is kind of how man works.
Yeah.
That is kind of how it works. But I assure you it's not judgment. I assure you that it's a vision that everybody, God gives you a vision that everybody isn't strong enough to have, because if you get the visions and you ain't ready, some of the visions and the words that I get, I can only imagine what it would do to some people. Because what it would do to me.
Yeah.
It make you question yourself.
Yeah.
It make you
want to quit.
Yep.
And that's real.
You can't wallow. Like, you got to move. Like, people say you always doing something. You got to.
Lives depend on it. Lives depend on it. Joe Pipe said, the way we view our situations is how we will respond, and every start over can either hurt you or it presents an opportunity to do something different, i.e. erecting and forging your own path as a new unit. I love that. And that goes to, the mindset. Like, you can look at it as something that's negative, or you can turn it into a positive. And that's what Jheri has decided to do when it comes to the blended family, despite the many startovers that you have endured on all sides, you still choose to lead with love. You still choose to lead with transparency. You still choose to lead with, understanding that you guys are one unit all the time. Not, it's just no step in it. things like that. So those are the things that you're using to turn a situation that you could look at in a negative light into a positive. So that is a plus there. Darnell said, your honesty is the protection of your peace. Joe Pipes also said, oh yes, we have to learn to respect our own vices. Dr. Robertson said, Coach L, you are an advocate for truth and recovery. And she says, come on, sister, to you, Jheri. And listen, this is to help somebody, y'all. This is to help. We truly, and I can speak for Jheri, I'm sure. You can tell me if I'm wrong. We truly believe in being transparent and being honest with the things that we have endured, because we know that being transparent will allow healing. Being transparent will allow us to continue to be in a place of freedom, and also to be able to show the very thing that God has created us to do, the very purpose that he has given us in life to move forward in. You can see the difference. You can see the change. You can see, that things have not always been this way, but they are as they are. God has done a new thing, and he has, chosen us. We have given our yes to be a cycle breaker, and it's dedication. Like, we're dedicated to breaking the cycle. I have a grandchild. Like, there's no way that I will continue to do the things that I used to do, because I know that her life depends on it. So I need her to see different.
Another thing just came to me, like, be careful how you handle people that are doing something different. You don't understand the whipping you place on somebody by, like myself or Coach L, when you call us judgmental, goody two shoes, Mary Magdalene, Mother Teresa, like you said in a joking manner, but you don't know what it's like to walk and feel different all the time. Like you just don't fit. And it's not a bad thing. Like, I'm okay with walking and being different, but it was a time when I'm 21 years old and I want to buy a house, and I don't want to have. I'm 22 years old, had a baby already, telling my friends, I don't think I want to have sex no more. They're like, girl, is you stupid? What you mean you ain't having sex? Girl, you got a baby. You a baby mama already. Well, I don't want to do this. Like, hey, you got to ask your.
I changed my mind.
I changed my mind after I had a baby. I'm talking about, you don't know what it's like to be different, crying on the altar because you had another baby. I was grown on my own, living on my own, paying my own bills, and crying like somebody killed me. It was killing me literally when I was pregnant with my son. My husband, he wasn't my husband then, talking about, did I rape you or something? Like, what's the problem? You already had a baby. Like, yeah, I know when I have sex that a baby comes, but I got to go to my pastor because I already know better, and I'm still fornicating, and I had another baby. It costs.
Yeah.
It hit different.
Uh-huh.
You can't do everything that everybody else do.
No.
Even when you try, and you try to block it out. Yeah, it's been plenty of times. So I'm going to ignore the word of God in my head and act like I don't hear him talking to me and just do my own thing. And I'm getting beat the whole time. And then it's just like, all right, turn around, come back. I forgive you. Now do what I said.
Yeah.
You don't know what that feel like. And people will laugh it off, because I know I do. But you don't know the cost.
Yeah.
You don't know what the cost. Everybody isn't going to understand your assignment. Everybody isn't going to understand, like, fornication to you, that could be nothing. Fornication to me was different. And in fornicating, that's having sex before married, if somebody don't know, it caused me to make a really drastic decision. That's how much I beat myself up. Now I'm 33, married with a husband, And I would want a third baby, but guess what? Because I was a fornicator and I was so beat up. You know what I did? I didn't even ask at that time my boyfriend, did you want any more kids in the future or something like that? I told them, give me them papers and tab me, burn me, twist me up. Because I cannot take a whooping like how I took when I was pregnant with my son.
And see, some people do it and don't even realize it. Some people do it and don't even realize it.
I was 2 pounds. I threw up the entire pregnancy. I was in the hospital the entire pregnancy. Like, I was literally sick because I knew better. And it's a difference. Like they say, babies, God protects babies and fools. It wasn't like I didn't know better. Like, you get a different type of conviction when you know better.
But that's you, like, wanting better for yourself, you know?
Right.
And I think back then, like, even when you know better, and your desire is to do better, right?
Better.
You don't even realize back then, like, those were, like, I would say, like, that's the process of a cycle breaker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to this place to understand that you were destined and designed and created to break cycles, but, you know, you had to go through in order to be able to identify that you are indeed a cycle breaker. And I mean, everybody does it. Like, people run from it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it.
I was running for a long time. Like, it's been several occasions where I'm blessed to be here. Like, I know for sure. I say it's my rebirth. January 7th, 2013. Again, communicating. I died, literally.
Yes, died of self.
That ain't something that you can just tell everybody, and I don't tell everybody that. Like, July 7th, 2013, I died literally. Like, I seen the guy. I seen the light. Like, when people say I seen the light, like, I seen the light. Like, and I seen God. Like, it ain't your time.
Yes. Now, Alicia, you on to something. Alicia said you both were meant to stand out from the rest. That's a gift. God didn't mean for you to do everything everybody else is doing. We may have never met Jheri if LJ hadn't come. No such thing as illegitimate kids. And it says the act for me was sinful, but the baby was a miracle because nothing good was coming from the relationship I left for my son. I might have stayed otherwise. And let me tell you something. You know, 17 pregnant, you know, it's crazy. 17 pregnant. My grandmother, rest her soul, she was like, you having an abortion, because she did not like, you know, what was going on with, you know, my child's father, and she just was like, we ain't having it. And by the grace of God, you know, I didn't believe in that, so I went forward. But it's so crazy because my son literally changed my life. Like, had I not had my child at 17, Lord knows, like, what would have happened, because I was already off the chain. Like, he slowed me down. It was like, you know, right after, you know, I found out that I was pregnant, it wasn't no more, oh, she in the streets fighting and acting crazy and cussing people out and just being, you know, a mess. Like, I had to sit down because I felt like, you know, my thought process was, I am responsible for another life. Like, I'm responsible for my child's life. So I need to sit down and I need to slow it down. And I thank God for that. So you're right, Alicia, you know, it was a blessing. It really was a blessing. But I love you guys. I thank you guys for joining. Jheri, can you tell everybody where they can find Miss Readjust Your Crown? And I'm gonna tell y'all this. Sis be going in on the blogs, like, real talk. Y'all need to go to her website so y'all can read some of these blogs. She is really going in. She is really sharing her heart in a transparent way. What was the last one about the milk? Come on, sis, tell them.
Ladies, hold on to your milk.
Ladies, hold on to your milk. She's spitting some real stuff. So go ahead and tell them where they can find you at.
So you definitely could catch me on Facebook at Jheri Bevil or Readjust Your Crown Mentoring page. I'm also on Instagram at Readjust Your Crown as well. You can reach me at www.readjustyourcrown.org. please check out them blogs, because you think I get some transparency when I hop on this live from time to time, but those blogs, they do something different. And it's a free space to read and really think about some of this decision, be transparent with some of the decisions that I've made in my life and some things that I see every day where God, like, talk about it. Like, it's not just you.
Yeah.
So definitely check out the readjustyourcrown.org page for the blogs. I operate on God's timing. So I'm not going to tell you like, oh, what's the blog going to be posted on this Monday, next Monday, next Monday, next Monday. No, that ain't how it works. It's a God thing. So when God say write the blog, I write the blog. The blog comes out. But check the page. I definitely always post that information on the website. You could check me out. You could call me. I'm available.
Yes.
Open book, transparent as can be. Ring my phone, 224-538-9287. That's me. That's how you reach me. And whatever I can be of assistance with, I'm definitely God's girl. And I'm out here being his foot soldier, doing the work that he has called me to do. So wherever God takes me, that's where I'm going.
Yes.
And reset and readjust your crown as many times as you have to. Just do not take it off.
That's it. So I want to thank you for joining us, sister. It's always amazing when we get to come, we get to be transparent and share with people. It's amazing. I want to thank you guys for rocking with Radical Radio this evening. We will be back Monday. As I said before, we do have a YouTube channel. So if you can go to YouTube and find the Radical Radio page, you can hit the bell for notifications, hit the subscribe to the YouTube channel. We also have the podcast on all platforms. So if you are catching the replay, if you're in your car and you want to go ahead and, listen to the podcast, it's on all platforms. So I thank you guys. We have reached, about 140 downloads. So I am excited about that. The podcast is growing and moving. And so it's just great to be able to share, the things that we have gone through and the things that, God has really placed on our heart. So I thank you guys for joining us tonight. I hope to see you guys back next Monday. As always, be you, be free, and be radical. You guys have a great night. Love you.
Good night.